Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we take the movies we love, break them apart to find out what gives them their magic. I'm your host, Josh Griffey, joined as always by my friend, co-host, and lady in a red dress.
Aw, Alex Dandino.
That was for you, buddy. That was just for you to start off this lovely day. If the pod's going to get wet, we're going to do it together. Before today's just moist, drippy jet ski of an episode, a little business. People, it's official. We're on Patreon. That's right, patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. If you like the show, you want to support the show, that's the best way to do it. You also get a ton of awesome shit if you do it. We have a big Patreon exclusive library. We have miniseries, we have commentaries, we have all kinds of fun stuff we work on putting over there that you can enjoy, right? So if you have the ability, you want to support the show, you want to get more out of the show, you want to vote on what we put in that Patreon exclusive library. You want to get every pod in the looming October Mega Marathon. Patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. That's where you get it done. We appreciate it so much for those of you who support us and hope that we'll see some of you soon. Go to YouTube, Film Alchemist, the channel, subscribe there. Email the pod, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials you're on. So go ahead and reach on out over there. We'll talk to you there. And make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews to help us defeat the algorithmic insurance fraud.
There we go. The true villains of the story.
The true billionaires insurance. That's where it always happens, right? It's always around insurance. Right, you're not here to talk about insurance.
One more thing, make sure you check out Misfit Parade, Griffey and the Friends making movies. These guys, they just put out a new one called Bouquet. Truly lovely. Check out the gang. Check out the gang. Bouquet dropped. This will drop in the future, so we'll have even more. Oh yeah, Bouquet just dropped for me in the future.
In the real
probably
world,
a new one.
We're pretty much time traveler pods. Yeah, Misfit Parade. You can find us everywhere. We're dropping tons of cool shit over there.
Yeah, true.
That's fun too. Now let's get back. Let's get deep into today's quit film. Deep Rising. I fucking love the movie Deep Rising. Not as like look at this fucking thing. This is not like an ironic, like I think it's funny to say that I love Deep Rising. Mm-hmm. I think it is such a joyous movie.
Yeah.
It is funny. It has really good, very well played out kind of monster attack scenes. Uh-huh. But what I really take from it has this incredible cast of kind of character actors, right? People that all should have been dramatically bigger than they ever got, right? So Famke Janssen, crush of the 90s because of Xenia on the Top. That's still how I want to die.
Oh, my God, yes.
Treat Williams, Dead Heat fame. Anthony Heald, who's one of the all-time, like, top 5 best, like, rich pieces of shit to hate in a movie, right? Just crushing this. Kevin J. O'Connor. You got Wes Studi, who I've always loved. Jason Fleming.
Damon Hansu.
Cliff Curtis, dude. So this movie is fucking stacked with actors that I just fucking adore. And they all find this real... It's a very kind of... It's almost like His Girl Friday on the Sea with jet skis and monsters, right? It's got a real, like, pitter-patter to how they're all fucking joking about.
Sure,
and I fucking love it. I think it's a weird medley of characters. I think for the most part, the monster works really well. And it's a fun fucking playground of a movie, man. I unabashedly think this movie is a fucking blast. And I'm glad that we're getting wit today talking about it. So, Alex, opening thoughts on Deep Rising.
I agree with everything you said, to be honest with you. I think Deep Rising for what... Actually, I think I'm starting the cast because I want to say this.
Yeah,
Stephen Sommers. So this is, I think, Stephen Sommers' one of his first directing jobs. This is obviously before The Mummy, but this is something that he does better than a lot of like actionier directors, which is besides like the little pitter patter between the His Girl Friday thing with Famke Janssen and Treat Williams. He really knows how to cast movies with people who are going to make the movie interesting and entertaining. Because I think everybody in this movie knows what the movie is. No one is thinking it's anything other than what it really is, which is a lot of fun. And I think that is
Yeah,
something that's
maybe
very
the
valuable in
like
this
cruise
movie.
captain is like the only guy who's like, I'm a serious nautical expert.
Derek O'Connor, yeah, he's
Yeah.
the only one who's like,
Everyone
I'm a
else
serious
is
nautical
exactly on
expert.
board with what we're doing.
Yeah, he's the one who's doing the lighthouse. Everyone else is like making a fun like action movie. So to
Yeah,
me,
they're like, let's make the Australian puke, and you're like, yeah.
yeah, he's like doing he's doing real real nautical engineer people thing. Everyone else is just like,
Dear God,
dude,
man. Yeah.
like everyone else is basically, dude, we have summer camp for 6 weeks. We're making a monster movie. Let's fucking rage, man. Like
Yes.
the love and enjoyment everyone clearly is having on that set is so apparent because they're just having a blast saying these lines. Like I had no idea until I read it that Tree Williams, like the catchphrase is, "Oh, now what?" I'm like, "Oh, I just thought that was something people were saying because he was just like,
Yeah.
well, something else is happening. Now what?" I love it. I love it.
They have so many weird. The one that I just was fucking rolling at yesterday, and maybe it's because my wife made me go see Barbie that day. So I was in that headspace that men have some work to do.
Right, yeah.
But when the fucking guy's on the boat and he goes to check on the welder lady, and he's
my
like,
God.
chick with the muscles. Chick with the muscles. I was just fucking dying laughing. I was like, oh my God, dude, what a fucking 90s movie epic. I was fucking rolling laughing.
So the minute the movie started, I'm like, I already know why this is Griffey's, like one of Griffey's like truly favorite movies, which is because the first opener.
Not because of that, but because of the opener text, right? This like hidden
Opening
mountain
text.
range that's like
This
way
like
bigger than
thing
the
about the
Himalayas.
South China Sea. I didn't write it down, but I was just like,
deeper
this is
than any man or machine has ever explored. Vessels have gone without a trace. It remains a mystery. And then we start with this like pretty terrible monster vision. And
yeah,
you're
it's like really. It's like if
okay.
Jaws had It's like Jaws having glaucoma. Like it's really bad.
Yeah, and dial-up internet where it's like, yeah.
Did
Oh no, dial-up internet's coming to get me. I should have gone skinny dipping.
it.
Yeah, but then, so that's not great. But then immediately we're on this fucking speedboat, right? You got Treat Williams, you got the whole fucking, motley crew of these assassin type guys.
Oh my God, Jason Fleming. Jesus Christ, I completely forgot.
Yeah, Jason Fleming. But Panatucci's finding missiles. Treat Williams going, we hired you for your reputation. I get paid to shut up and do my job, so I shut up and do my job. And it's fucking, like, the setup of this, too.
It's pretty good.
It's like a really great idea. So essentially, these mercenaries were hired to help rob a vessel that the man who created this luxury yacht, just this absolute fucking C-word of a man.
Yeah, it's the guy from Silence of the Lambs, who is truly like, if there was ever an actor who was like, you know what I'm going to do? My entire career is going to be based around the fact that I look like the most punchable white man on camera. You're like, great, thank you.
Anthony Hill just, because that scene when he's like, this was my dream, this was your dream, and he's like, I see you here, so elegant, so rich. And immediately you're on the couch,
just like, oh, I hate you.
Yeah,
oh my
like,
God, you are gonna
kill
die
them.
spectacularly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not Wes Anderson. I don't just have like an infatuation with rich people going through it. That bothers me a lot. I was talking to my buddy because he's like, hey man, because he told me to watch Darjeeling Limited or whatever, right? I just watched it. It's like a really important movie to him. I actually think it's great. And I'm not like a huge Wes Anderson fan, but I thought that movie was really enjoyable. And I just texted him and I was like, must be nice to have existential crisis when you're just rich enough to fucking go hang out for a month and have people run your luggage around. That's the difference, right? So these are people that we're not feeling exceptionally bad for as an audience, as we know what's coming down on them, right?
Right.
What I think is the cool choice is the crew gets there and then it immediately turns into a haunted house movie.
Yes.
Or it's almost like slasher rules, right? Like we're walking around this haunted
Kind
house,
of.
someone gets got. And I mean, because that's the thing. I think if they were running through these crowded, scenes and you're doing more of like a Die Hard, right?
Right.
I don't know that that's as fun as the slasher on the sea. So I think that the script, right? Because just from even meeting them, you know that they have torpedoes, right? You see all this fucking bad shit coming. And I thought it's a really cool moment in the script is that the bad shit already got there before them.
Yeah.
And so they're all walking around like, what the fuck? I don't know. I think this movie has a really strong, the dialogue obviously strong. The characters and actors are obviously strong. It just makes a lot of right choices that set you up to go,
right.
Oh, now we're just doing a fucking tentacle buffet, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Again, the movie never strays from the exact notion of what it is. At no point did I get the assumption that anyone was trying to do anything other than just a fucking fun monster movie.
Right.
Haunted house. Like, what are we going to, like, what hijinks are we going to get up to now? Like, there's all these great bits from other movies about being on a sinking ocean liner somewhere. Like, there's, swimming underwater, which is straight out of like the Poseidon Adventure, like all these like cool things. Like I fucking had a blast watching those.
That is something that I see in these movies all the time.
Yeah.
Would you be able to fucking swim underwater through
no,
wreckage?
No. Absolutely not. 1000%.
I saw
no.
that, and even Panatucci's like, "Oh, let me just go get my fucking 800 freestyle in." I was like, "What? No, I'm dead."
Yeah,
like I'm 100%. Like I do the guy where like I'd be hiding in it, like it was the stairs at the pool, hoping the tentacles didn't see me. I can't fucking swim underwater and just pray.
No, yeah, I can't like do that. Like, well, I don't know what's on the other side. I'm like, fuck that. I'll just die here. Forget it.
He's like, I'll fire 2 shots, and I'm like, cool. I'm just gonna jerk off until I die. Like I'm out. I'm not
like, cool.
Swimming underwater in wreckage.
I would rather become, skin. Okay, we haven't talked about this part yet.
It's one of my favorite, like, nautical or aquatic kind of tropes of these movies, is that we can swim really far on one breath. And I was like, go to your local pool.
Yeah.
Just see how long you can hold your breath right now with no tray. And again, I don't treat my body as nice as some people. If I could stay under for a minute without being physical pain, I'd be shocked.
Well, that was my question.
That's not swimming. That's just...
Yeah, like I'm at rest. If I'm at rest underwater and just sort of sitting there, I can maybe go 45 seconds without being like, I'm going to die.
And then we've got our fucking airtight Chinese illegal guns. We're wearing like full 90s like fucking hacker outfits.
Probably my favorite iteration of like 90s like random guns are like the handheld spinning cannon. I'm like, this is the greatest.
It definitely was designed to meet the Nerf market.
Greatest mercenary guns
gun is a Nerf
ever.
gun. Yeah.
Absolutely, like best mercenary guns.
That scene when they bust in and the fireworks go off, and they're like, and then they all look at each other and go, "Whoa!" And they shoot again like they're fucking Bill and Ted. I was like, that scene sums up. This movie's just constantly going, "Whoa!" and refiring it, just for the fun of it.
So the first time, Jamon Hansu is like, I've got blood. And you're like, all right, cool. So somebody died here. Great. When they get to that galleyway that's just littered with like, how would you describe these bodies? Because the bodies are awesome.
Yeah, they're like essentially, it's like a whole fucking
like husks,
menagerie
right?
of digested husks. Yeah. So there's like just enough of us. There's like a putrescence, right?
That's a good word for it. Putrescence. I like that.
Yeah, and so they're kind of covered in like what looks like melting clay, right? Like a Tool video.
Yeah.
But you still see the like skeleton. It's fucking awesome.
It's that first
the movie does the fucking all the dead bodies. 'Cause there's 2 like finding like tons of dead body rooms.
Yeah.
And they're fucking awesome. It's
the
a
first
really
one,
cool moment.
Through the galleyway, there is the one body that still has like its eyeballs, and I was like, that is fucking metal. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, dude. And what kicks off the fight is when the dude steps on a skull and goes, and then all of a sudden, because this is another thing this movie does exceptionally well, right? The way that they have the monster interplay with the world at the start of the film.
Yeah.
Whether we see some water ripples, we see people being dragged and pulled in. But when you get to that galleyway room, the thing I thought was cool is we see it fucking bending the entire walls, right? We see it bending that door in. So you get a lot of run and fear, and we get the power and size of this monster.
Yeah.
Without having, I mean, we can fucking just call it like it is. The CG in this movie is fucking terrible.
Okay, it's 1998. Like, I don't care. Like,
it's bad. But see, I think the tentacles work. I think the monster's body is one of the biggest abominations put to screen.
Yeah.
not size and it's an abomination from the depths. Like, it looks
bad.
horrendous. But if you keep it just tentacles rolling down a hallway,
Right.
that looked pretty good.
It's fine.
I think they just made a classic Air where it's like, we need to see the big monster, and they just couldn't deliver the big monster.
I'm sure that's a nice studio note. Studios, fuck you right now, for sure. But, you know, it's like a nice studio note of like, hey, we got to see this thing.
Unless they fucking come to an agreement with the strikers by the time you hear this.
They won't.
But if not, fuck you. Yeah, seems like they won't.
Fuck off. But like, yeah, this like huge tentacled monster. I would have been fine without the reveal, but you know, that's just like, you can't get out. You can't get out of these monster movies without seeing the big guy.
Yeah, and it's such a dumb moment. It's like, now it picks him up. Whereas before, it's a monster that eats by slurping you in, right? I think he says it's an otai.
I'm like...
At 10 feet, they're a pencil. At 100 feet, they are big enough to eat a shark. At 3,000, you do the math. And it's like, well, what? Like, I
loved that because I was like, oh, okay, thanks, Mr. Nautical guy.
They couldn't just say, like, a creature we maybe have heard of. Like, I watch a lot of nature documentaries when I'm high. I've never heard of this thing in my life.
I think my favorite, though, is that explanation, though, comes from the rich guy. And I'm like, oh, is it? Oh, is it? Thanks, rich guy. Appreciate that.
Yeah, again, like a Wes Anderson character, it's nice to have the recreational time to just research nautical beast, you fuck. You know? Go ask the guy making the burgers for all these rich orgy fucking tired rich people.
Hey,
do you know a lot about creatures that live at 40,000 feet? He's like, dude, I got 5 orders.
The fucking the fucking insurance fraudster while building the biggest Ponzi scheme to build this giant boat. Like, Bernie Madoff's everyone onto a boat, and then he's like, also, I've researched a lot about the Nautilus. And
I just love literature. Reading. It's like, God damn it.
I'm also known as Nemo. No, you're not.
Yeah, and so call me Little Nemo. No, we're not doing that. We're not going to Slumberland with you. You're a creep. You're a creep. It's just, yeah. But you have to see the monster. I get the rule.
I guess.
They just didn't pay it off. And all of a sudden, it's a thing that slurps you like a drink. I like that. And he's like, he doesn't eat you. He drinks you. And I was like, great fucking line.
Absolutely.
Awesome line. And then we see the monster like holds him up to like a mouth with teeth.
And then he pops his eye out.
The popping the eye was fine, but I was like, the movie had done such a good job without that moment.
Yeah, it was totally fine.
That becomes a thing now that's like hung on it in infamy, right? Yeah. It's like Lawnmower Man when like that CG started, everyone's like, oh, yeah. That I think has kind of been embraced in like a cult way, like how fun it looks now.
Yeah.
This will not happen with this movie, but it is kind of the rare misfire of the movie. So I was watching it, and I was like, as cheesy as I remember this movie, I was like, this movie does not make very many mistakes, right? So if you just go character by character, right? We got Finnegan first. That's Treat Williams. Treat Williams is fucking crushing in this movie. Treat Williams has always been a really funny guy. Yeah. This movie kind of finds that, like, beautiful sweet spot for him, right? Like, I love the opening of the movie where we're hanging out with Treat. Mm-hmm. He's doing his, like, I don't ask questions. I'm just a guy here doing my job, blah, blah, blah. But then when Panatucci's getting his fucking ass kicked for being nosy, which I was like, guy, come on. Like, I know we need to know there's torpedoes. I was like, you would never fucking survive the sea doing this.
Yeah.
And he goes in and he saves him, right? And he's just a fun, like, jokes guy. Like, all right, don't kill my mechanic. And then whips into action, right? He's got that gun right at fucking, what's his name, Mamuli's throat.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Treat Williams is a really good man in action. And he's a little bit of an older gentleman at this point. He's fucking crushing this role.
I think what I like Treat Williams is in this, again, Treat Williams is just always one of those, he's one of those like utility actors. Because like the thing that I remember Treat Williams most from besides The Phantom, I guess, would be, I think he's in the sequels of The Substitute because Tom Berenger is the first Substitute. Mm-hmm. And then I think Treat Williams does like the other sequels, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But like that's like the one, or maybe he's the original. But either way, like there's something about the timbre of his voice and the way he operates in certain scenes that is just so like,
yeah, so he is in The Substitute too. Okay, I see it right here on his letterbox. He nailed that.
He's the Substitute.
School's out.
I almost said Tom.
Too.
I almost
Yeah,
said Tom
but
Bergeron, but I
what
remember
I
that's
love
the
about
AFV guy.
Treat Williams, right, is he perfectly catches what this movie needs to be. Because I remember this was something I watched because my parents were like obsessed with Seinfeld, right? My younger brother's obsessed with it. We never missed an episode. I like Seinfeld too, don't get me wrong. I'm more of a Curb man as I age, but
Aren't we
they
all?
talked about something I was watching, right? And they talked about when they were casting Kramer. It's like, I need a guy who can open the door and just immediately be funny, right? Like, he opens the door funny. Not a guy who can open a funny door, right? I think Treat Williams is a great representation of that kind of casting philosophy. Because he manages to be so funny he's not fully ever doing the like wink and nod at the camera. I mean, he's as close as you can be to
He's
looking
just
right
charming.
at the camera and saying, "Ain't this great? Ain't I a stinker?"
Is it just
right?
because he's just charming? I feel like
Oh,
that's
I mean, charm off the and actually recently passed away. R.I.P. Treat Williams. Just like a really like lovable actor, but yeah, his charisma in this one, and literally as people are being drank, he's doing a meet cute with Famke Janssen that's just working on every fucking level.
Absolutely
it's just
incredible.
working. Those two are amazing together, and I just love Treat Williams in this because he's fully Bugs Bunny, but also he's fully get off my plane. He's just like he's in that perfect middle ground.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. This is like the like mid to late 90s was that time where like Harrison Ford was right before Harrison Ford was too old to play middle-aged. Mm-hmm. And Treat Williams sort of is the same way. Like
We
Treat
didn't
Williams
have de-aging technology yet.
Yeah, we didn't de-age anyone. We just sort of like gave them we spray painted their hair brown. Like, still young. He's fine.
Nature was still beating us at that point, yeah.
Yeah. It was But Treat Williams is just like this conventionally handsome guy who just did a good job subbing as the guy who didn't age as bad. I think that's the best way I've put and then on top of that, super charming and like charismatic on screen. So he's fun to watch. I truly
and like shockingly good at the action.
Yeah. Like shouldn't be as good as he is. Like has no right to be as good as he is at the action. But he really does put in the work. It's cool.
Didn't you say that he was not supposed to be the guy in this movie?
Yeah, originally it got offered to Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford turned it down, so Treat Williams came in. So I guess this is all sort of makes sense. Like the sub Harrison Ford, it makes sense, yeah.
And that makes sense why he kind of felt. But this is the thing, I love Harrison Ford.
I do too.
His devil may care charming thing comes with like a, but I'll still whip your ass, right?
Yeah.
He is not as effortlessly charming as Treat Williams is. That's not an insult.
No, not at all.
He's a fucking magnetic personality, Harrison.
I actually
right?
the
but
way
Treat Williams is like, he's like a Jimmy Buffett song, dude. He comes in like a nice island breeze. You know what I mean? Treat Williams is a Jimmy Buffett song on a hot day, baby.
This is the difference between Treat Williams and Harrison Ford. In the Poseidon Adventure moment, Harrison Ford would go, fuck this. And he would walk the other way and like shoot his way out. Treat Williams like, I will press on. Harrison Ford's like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. I'm not swimming underwater to just somewhere unbeknownst.
Harrison Ford would find the pop top, shoot it, beat it with the whip, and ride off with the girl. Treat Williams would slip on a pop top and just say, I have a bad feeling about today, and it would be awesome. And it would be awesome.
So, like, I think that was funny. Different. That's Treat Williams and Harrison Ford for this role. It's different actions, same result. Like it's it's still great no matter what they decide, who they decide to do in this role. Their actions are different. The result is still devil may care, charming. I would follow that guy wherever he chose to go. Actually.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Fun.
Treat Williams, he's kind of the beating heart of the movie, right? We got Famke Janssen, who's doing our classic Lady in Red.
Who got cast like 3 days into shooting, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, it was originally Claire Forlani, if you are a Meet Joe Black fan. Or Mallrats. Okay. And she was like 3 days into shooting, and she left the movie over creative differences. which was the funniest thing to read. I was like, what creative differences could you have? It's like, hey, instead of, I was like, is it because Anthony Hield fucking slaps Famke Janssen? I was like, was that the scene? She's like, I can't do this.
That
I will not be slapped
was
in the face.
another like, damn,
Whoa.
we were still doing that back then.
I was like, it's 98. We're hitting ladies
Yeah.
still. Jeez.
He's doing that like rich, like these wrists are only for opening leather-bound editions on Aquatic Beast. That like kind of real like wimpy smack, but still,
Yeah.
Because Famke takes it and she looks at him almost like, "You bitch, how dare!" Like
Yeah.
she's gonna go back and knock his head off.
Bitch.
Yeah, you little piece of shit. It's not one of those like when you get smacked and you're like, "Oh fuck." Like I'm meeting an equal. She gets smacked and she wants to go back and like strangle him.
She's like, are we doing this? We throwing bows? What's the
He's
deal?
just like chapter 22. It's like what? It's such a little like
How
this is a
interesting.
man who's feeling himself way too much.
Yeah.
That would have been great if Famke Janssen just fucking strangled him to
He's
death.
just Bernie Madoffed all these people on his boat, knowing full well what's about to happen.
But yeah,
and
she
has
she's
the audacity
really
to slap
good in
this
this
lady.
movie. She's really fucking good in this movie.
She's very good.
Because this is the thing, I don't think you see Famke Janssen do the comedy as much. Like when we were younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, she became Jean Grey, but I think a lot of us, it was Xenia on the top.
Xenia on the top.
Xenia on the top. Still one of the top 5 favorite Bond names ever. She kills you by fucking crushing your thighs and chest. I still occasionally will just like mention this to my wife, hoping that, you know, as her frustration with me builds, she'll just go start training. Like one of those ladies on Instagram that smashes watermelons with her thighs. It's like, do that to me someday. Put me out of my misery.
I do occasionally find myself thinking about like in Goldeneye, her death scene. It's like this woman dies horrifically, like strangled to death by a helicopter, and Pierce Brosnan has the fucking call to go, she always did love a good squeeze. I'm like, Jesus, man, like, come on.
Those fucking Bond movies, dude. I remember it's that one, the one we watched with Brian with Denise Richards. It's like,
Oh, my
Christmas only
God.
comes once a year. I mean, James
mean,
Bond never gave a fuck. I did read a funny thing when I was researching this movie that Famke Janssen and Summers kept getting in fights. Because every scene he's like, we got to doll her up. And she's like, I'm an action hero. I'm like in the water. Like, I don't want to look pretty the whole movie. He's like, you got to look pretty. That's what sells. They were like fighting back and forth.
Oh, dude.
At least I thought it was a nice thing in the movie. When it's like, yeah, we're about to die, and he just goes, do you want pants? All right. And then she gets to dress like she's a 90s hacker for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was
Like
like, good
that.
for you. Like, because had they made her do that whole movie,
Oh,
it's like
dude.
when
In
I
that
saw
fucking red
Resident
dress.
Evil in the theater. Yeah, and I was like, damn, Alice really like doing all these kicks in fucking Doc Martens, a Fonzie jacket, and a skimpy-ass red dress.
Yeah.
That seems not ideal for combat.
I was glad when she did do the change. I was like, good, because I don't want to do another one of these where like women in action movies shouldn't. And I look, women in action movies should not be wearing heels. I don't understand that. I don't get it. Like, I get it from an aesthetic point of view, I guess, but either way, it's just like never functional. Makes no sense to me. I think we're finally coming to that conclusion, like, because like the Batman. Catwoman's not wearing heels finally, and then Wonder Woman's finally got boots. Like, but it was just one of those things where I was just like,
Yeah.
don't make me do this, and then like, don't make me do this '90s part, and I'm glad I didn't.
Twisted, unloved directions around the earth, just screaming, Catwoman heels! That's the last thing I had. It's like,
Why isn't she wearing heels? No.
Why does your dick look like a Cheeto, dude? Get out and see grass. God damn, leave that thing alone. Their little dicks looking like young Leonidas and Spartan training, dude. Just
Oh yeah.
pee on them. No. If a woman can't fight in heels, that means you're a cook.
The wolf can see him. He knows.
Q got me again. Like they just like they're fully enriched. if you honestly have ever once wasted a thought in your life about Catwoman's footgear,
Yeah. You're
guys,
watching
just
the wrong
reach out.
movies.
You need help. You need fucking
Yeah. Come to our
used do
Discord.
a comic book show, a comic book
my
podcast.
God.
So like we're pretty familiar because people would like message us like, "Hey man, are you guys gonna talk about how they downgraded the tits on Lola Rabbit?" And you're like, "Lose this email.
Yeah.
Lose this email."
New email. Who dis? Like,
Yeah,
no,
We're
absolutely
grown
not.
men. We jerk off to things that are what grown men jerk off to.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Better
don't
homes
ever
and
want to get
gardens.
into that conversation, but yeah, it's like, guys, I don't care about the tits on a bunny. But
That was a question that came up, and I'm like, I don't want to ever talk about
it was always something. It's like, can you believe they're desexualizing women in comics? And I was like,
yes,
they're
Good.
cartoons. They're cartoons. Right? They're not coming to your house and fucking using a fucking grinder on your blow up doll's tits. Like, this is
That's
not
one of those
personal
things where
freedom.
somebody asked. I remember we did the comic pod. Somebody asked us that, and I was like, "What are you reading the comic books for? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Like, that's one of those things where you just want to like check on someone. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, bag and board the books, not yourself, brother. Yeah, it was so absurd, dude.
But yeah, I was
when
glad
the
they got
government
her.
comes and tries to take the giant fucking quadruple D tits off your blow up doll, then we can have a discussion about personal freedoms. You know what I mean? And
Until that point,
culture. Until
that point, Barbie yourself. I don't give a shit.
just go for a walk, dude.
Yeah.
Get your fucking 10,000 steps a day and watch how it changes your life. That's what I would say to our friends out there. We're not
Read
here
the
to
air, my
fucking
friends.
bury you. We're here to show you a way out.
It's
Get
okay.
your 10,000 steps, brother.
If you're upset about heels in movies,
Yeah.
I'll let you in the Discord for
If
free.
you think this movie is worse when Famke Janssen is dressed like Panatucci, you're wrong. She's still an amazingly capable, awesome. She's just
absolutely
really
awesome.
fucking good at it, and she's really good at the banter with Treat Williams, which you got to. Panatucci might be one of the most annoying characters ever in a movie. Kevin J. O'Connor is a great actor, but it's almost like he is an unfinished person, and he has this like ultra grating, like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo voice going.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. And so me personally, at the end, when Joey shows up on the surfboard, I was like, ugh.
Oh God.
Great actor. But I felt like, when the captain of the fucking mercenaries, he's sitting there holding the table, right?
Oh,
he looks like the guy from fucking Training Day. You ever had your shit pushed in? And he
Actually,
looks like that. And you're like, what's going on? And he's being slowly eaten.
He looks like the captain in Goldeneye the first time the Xenia Onatopp kills someone on screen. Like,
That's right. Yeah. Yes, that's great. That's exactly the face. And you're like, what's he doing? And then he looks at Panatucci and he's like, he's doing the fly, like, give me the gun. And I thought this is one of my favorite moments in the movie. He gets the gun.
this is the best moment in the
He tries
movie.
to fucking shoot Joey. And Joey just goes, you asshole!
You asshole!
And he runs away. And I was fucking dying. Like, what a great fucking beat to write in the movie. This guy so fucking hates Joey. And then he goes to kill himself. No bullet left because of his fucking hatred of Joey. And he gets eaten. Oh, dude, that scene is fucking hilarious.
So I was watching this last night. I had yesterday like one of the worst work days I've ever had on record. Like, it was truly just a tremendously shitty day. I had to pause the movie, and Andrea was like not paying attention because she's like, sometimes when I watch these, she's just not watching them with me. I had to pause the movie. I was laughing so hard because I was just like, that might be one of the best action scenes in a non-action scenes in an action movie is someone does something like not even mildly honorable, just like, whatever, it's fine. And is like, you asshole, like that.
Oh, that was fucking hilarious.
That is the funniest fucking thing. That's like and I honestly, thinking about it too, because I thought about this after I saw it, because Stephen Sommers does this with The Mummy too. Like, there are a lot of these just great bits in The Mummy.
Yeah.
That might be just what Stephen Sommers does better than a lot of people.
He just has a good eye for
these
it.
comedy bits. Like, these are really, that's a really funny joke.
Well, it's also, he does what I love is that the joke never comes at the expense of what we're doing.
No.
Right? We do the joke in this moment of pause. It's a nice moment of levity. And then we're back into that guy being absorbed, right? And this is a movie that never asks us to take the horror of this movie seriously.
No.
Right? That's not the movie this is. Even though there are moments that are grotesque, watching the captain get fucking folded in half.
Yep.
Right?
That
You're like,
guy that they like,
fuck.
they shoot out of the guy's guts, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was fuck. Yeah, he turns around, he's like, oh. And they're like, yeah, it's fucking Ricky or whatever the fuck. It was the guy on the boat who kept saying, chick with the muscles. Chick with the muscles. That's who it was.
Was that the Kano guy?
Yeah, whoever. No, because Kano was the big Australian, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
They do such a good job with the crew. I love the fucking crew, right?
Yeah, the mercenaries
Dude,
are great.
Fucking, what's his name? Dimon Haju getting fucking murdered.
Yeah.
By the axe, by the billionaire was fucking...
That guy got murked, man.
That's
Not
a great
cool.
moment, right? They're opening up the safe to get all their shit, and just an axe buried in... Like, what a great, like, truly shocking moment.
Awesome.
Like, who saw that fucking coming?
I think it was
just
good.
Yeah.
It's a really good thing to have a movie like this and it not just be monster kills. Like, I think this is like a thing that this movie does better than a lot of the other movies is like, sometimes people also fuck up and kill people. Like, that's... Especially in this kind of thing, I liked that a lot. Like,
well, they do this. They kind of address it right on the nose.
It's a good shocker.
Which they have these super guns, right?
Yeah.
They are never shown to really do anything. Every time danger starts, they literally just show everyone.
No, these guys shoot like stormtroopers. Like they never.
It's
hit
exactly how the
anything.
Ghostbusters shoot their proton packs.
Yeah.
Whoa! It's like, so they're just kind of showing the fucking like absurdity of this, like, we have these guns against this giant fucking underwater beast.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like laughing at a trope of the genre, right?
Yeah.
Panatucci's falling. How do I use this? He's falling around, dude. It's good. But they have some moments in there that really work, right? I think Mamuli gets done wrong because he's just such a fucking pervert.
Yeah.
Right? He's trying to assault the lady. He's like, I never done Korea. And then he's in the boat, and he's just like, oh, fucking nudie topless pig. That's another thing I love on any boat movie. Like, Event Horizon even has this.
Yeah, you gotta
the
have
guy
nudes.
who, like, goes to space, and he's like, I just need to see tits all the time. I know this is like a work opportunity. We're here to work, but, like, if I could just have tits everywhere.
I think in Event Horizon it's particularly fascinating because, like, this is the future. Like, people can send messages back to Earth from Neptune, like, instantaneously, but yet...
Like, and he has to explain science to us by fucking poking a pencil through a porno page. Love that. I love those guys. It's
this
like when
November,
my uncle...
what am I going to do?
When I was a kid, my Uncle Ken had a garage where he fixed cars. And he'd wander in and it would just be like, Budweiser. And it'd just be like a chick leaned over a car with her fucking giant fake tits hanging out. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, all right, like, do you want to be like fucking really cranking on an engine and look up and be like, oh, great, I have an erection now.
Nice.
Now I'm just fucking like sweaty and greasy in overalls. It's 100 degrees in here. And I just have to keep working with an erection.
I just truly love the thought of somebody, just working, looking up, fake tits. Nice. This is why I do it.
Sick.
Click,
yeah,
click.
now I have an erection that I can't fucking do anything with because I'm in arc welding gloves. You know what I mean? Like, this is fucking horrendous. This is terrible. I'm in the machine shop. So I love that fucking trope, but Mamuli's so fucking drawn in by the tits that he gets unceremoniously dragged out.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get a lot of run, but the guy who gets the really good scene is Jason Fleming.
Yeah.
When he has his, like, we're going to make our stand. That scene's really fucking well acted. Like, everyone's really bought in. It's this real fucking tense moment because Wes Studi has the fucking gun on him because now he's with Finnegan. And they're all like, dude, we can just go. Like, I'm going to my boat. Like, you can fucking kill me if you want. I'm going to my boat. And watching, I think his name's Mulligan, right? Morgan?
Which
Anyways,
one?
whatever his name is. Jason Fleming.
Jason Fleming's
No, he's
character?
Mulligan. Okay.
I just called him
watching
Jason Fleming.
Yeah, watching him, like, they finally kind of subside, and he's like, he knows the monster's behind him. He has his, like, awesome last stand and gets got. That's a really good, like, tense moment in the middle of the film. Right? And Heath and I were having this debate last night involving a script we're writing, right? Mm-hmm. And we were talking about how the mechanics of some of these horror movies work, right? And it's this issue you have in movies like this. Everyone who watches this movie, they immediately know, within 95% certainty, that Treat Williams and Famke Janssen are going to get out. Mm-hmm. And that almost everyone else is going to die. So how can you build true suspense when even the average moviegoer knows how this works? They know that these guys are not fucking getting out of here.
Right.
Right? You know they're dead immediately when this movie starts. Mm-hmm. And you know immediately who's going to fucking be riding that jet ski and that comically amazing ending out of that fucking boat.
Absolutely.
And when you know with almost complete certainty how this is going to work, right? Every Disney movie, right? You know, the fucking parents can die, but everyone else will probably be okay. Maybe like the villain gets a horrifying death like in Tarzan.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know exactly how this is going to play out. So how do you still derive suspense? And I think this moment is where you do it, right? Because you don't know, like Jason Fleming could lose it and kill Wes Studi and change the course of these men through the boat. They're still going to the exact same destination. But that was a real moment where I paused watching the movie and was really affected by the tension of that scene.
Yeah.
And so I think that's it's just constantly doing really good scene work, I feel like, in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's
Like
what's
when
interesting.
T-Ray and Mamuli got, you're like, no suspense, knew that was coming.
That was absolutely going to happen.
Saw the trailer or saw the poster, knew it.
Yeah.
This is a really nice breath of fresh air moment.
Yeah. I think that's something that's really unique about Deep Rising is, again, like, the biggest advantage Deep Rising has is that it knows the kind of movie it is.
Yeah.
Everybody in it knows the kind of movie they're making, except for obviously that one engineer. And then the other thing is just like all of them are buying into the fact that this is the movie they're making. So when that kind of scene happens, it is so off kilter and kind of like shocking that it actually does create the real tension. I think like you're right.
You see for the first time a character really struck by the weight of what's happening.
Right.
And that's what makes it suspenseful. Right?
Well, they stopped
it's all
doing
like, let's
this,
just fucking
like,
swim to freedom. And you're like, well, that's not something everyone can do.
Well, they stopped doing this thing, which is like, they stopped doing the action scene stuff. Like what it is like when you stop doing an action scene or an action movie and you stop for like 20 minutes to like, or sorry, 20 is too long, but you stop for like 5 minutes to do like a Waiting for Godot thing. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking movie, man.
Waiting for Tentacle.
Waiting for Otay.
Is that fucking guy coming? I know he's got to come up from 4,000 feet where I do the math, but Jesus.
I mean, my God, come on. My Nautilus told me so.
It's just a great scene, man. Like it really, that's the thing. They always find these like nice little moments. Everyone on the cast is really funny. And the thing, this movie has a big ending, right? I would say the ending of the movie I like pretty well, right? The turning your boat into the fucking yacht to blow it up, or the cruise ship. It's way bigger than a yacht.
Yeah.
The jet skiing is fucking hilarious. Right? It's kind of got these like machinations of like, all right, we're doing this big goofy action ending.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Like me and Amy were dying laughing as the jet ski like flew out of the ship.
Awesome. You knew it was coming
and
too.
He's like,
You're just like, come on, man,
it,
get to this
right?
thing.
And I fucking thought that was hilarious. Loved it. He shoots the monster in the eye. Great. The thing I don't know that it had to get right. The moment you have to get right in the end of this movie is the death of our woman-slapping insurance fraud billionaire.
Yeah.
He's the one who melted down the entire mainframes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we've got his character doing his bit, right? Why would you do this, man? We're running at full capacity. He's like, it takes way more to run a fucking orgy ship than you think.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, they have a casino on board. If you have a casino and you're not making money, something is wrong.
You're fucking bad. You are.
These people are betting so much money at a time, right, per bet in a place like this that you should be fine. But he cannot meet expenses. So whatever kind of fucking Hellraiser, 50 Shades of Otai rooms he's got fucking hanging all over. He's got like a little fucking like niptorium where like little Otai fucking liquefy your nips or whatever. Whatever kinky shit he's got on this boat, he's never going to be in the black. And the boat's worth about $500 million. And there's this great moment at the end. So we see what a scumbag he is, this and that, right? And at the end he goes, it's sinking. It's sinking. And he smiles and you're like, you fucking asshole. And he runs away. It looks like he's going to get free, right? Treat Williams kind of shoots him off and you're like, why did Treat Williams not have that moment right there?
Yeah.
And I think there's this really brilliant moment where he jumps off the boat because he's going to steal Treat's boat, right?
Right.
Finnegan's boat. He jumps and his leg fucking snaps. And that
breaks his leg.
I fucking was cringe at that scene. When he tries to step through the door on his broken, I can't do fucking broken bone shit.
Yeah.
I'd say every time I see a kid skating on a YouTube, I'm like, scroll. I can't do it. So I was like repulsive. But watching him get spun back into the ship to blow up, I was going to ask, I was like, is that a cathartic enough ending for Canton? Because this is kind of the beat. You know the monster's going to die. You know Treat and Famke are getting out of that boat. That's the movie we're in. Canton has to fucking karmically pay the price. Was watching him with his broken leg go, ah, like through the windshield. Was that enough for you? Was that your pound of flesh you needed?
No, I think the same. I thought the same thing. Like that was like probably the one sort of thing I didn't like about this movie is because he did not have the. It's not the proper level. It's the same thing that I have. It's not the right level of comeuppance. Like you can't. This is something that happens in the movie The Patriot with Mel Gibson too. Is Jason Isaacs' comeuppance at the end of the movie is not enough. Like this man killed two of this guy's kids.
It's not enough. Yeah.
Like you killed two of this guy's kids, and the best you can muster is stabbing him in the throat with a like fiery bayonet tip. Like that's it. Like no torture, no like it just doesn't quite do it. And I think because, and I'm not like this isn't a Jason Isaacs level villain in the slightest. the Bernie Madoff guy, the Bernie Madoff version of this guy, like. It's
you know what makes him so villainous though is that he never drops the smug I'm better than everyone.
Exactly.
He captures so perfectly that human beings are my play. I mean, think about how many fucking people die in this movie specifically because of the button he pressed.
I think because the comeuppance is so sudden and not like it.
This is a Jason X level murder event.
Yeah. Like it needs to be a face the beast moment. Like that's like
so you know what I thought, right? Because if this was A24, right, everything has to be a fucking trauma metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
I thought what we needed in the movie that came to mind that did this the best was Anaconda.
Okay.
When we see John Voight from the gullet of the beast getting eaten.
Yeah.
And when he spits him back out, even though he winks, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm fine, but he's not. He's fucking digested. He, even though he's still trying to present that I'm cool. Hey, baby bird, it's all right. And he winks.
Hey, baby
he's
bird,
not.
all right.
He's not all right, baby bird.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to see that. He talks about how they drink you.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him really suffer what he had done rather. And I know this movie famously was plagued by the budget got dropped a lot. That's why they lost Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
They had, I think the CG and post-production went on for like an extra year plus. Because they were having so much trouble figuring out budget and effects. So like it famously didn't, like they might not have just been like, we have what we need to do a really awesome, that fucking dog shit clip art monster eating Canton. So yeah. It's a fine death. I love that he like gets the broken leg and all that, but I did think he needed to die by the ocean, right? That's what I was kind of thinking in my head.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's the problem. Is like he abused the ocean, he must die by the ocean.
He was died by the torpedoes he brought to sink his luxury ship, and I was like, all right, that makes some sense, but
it's not as good as like him getting Slurpee pouched into the belly.
That's what
of the
I'm
beast.
saying. It could have been way more fun.
I agree,
but. I love the cut, too, when we go to the island nearby. When Treat Williams is looking under the hood of the jet ski, and he's like, fried, or whatever. Like, I was like, that's such a fucking funny image.
Awesome. And then Third Wheel shows up on the fucking surfboard. You're like, oh, great.
Right.
So now, like, he doesn't get to food.
I love that his solitaire game was also going game over.
Game over.
It's like, is solitaire that hardcore in the 90s? It's like, game over,
I
bitch.
fucking loved that. Game over, bitch.
But...
No, I don't get to see the cards go. Never again.
The little bouncing.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just thought it was cool because he's like, I'm stuck on this island with Famke Janssen. This ain't bad.
This ain't bad.
And then Joey shows up and he's like,
what's up,
no.
Third Wheel?
Oh, because Joey's
man.
like, did I see from the water scoop that you were about to get it in, Scoop? I can
boy.
Yeah, I can go for a walk. And you're like,
this is a nice place.
Right,
I'll make it work.
What I love, though, the giant roar. We see trees crashing in a volcano, and he's like, what now? Like they landed on Skull Island.
Yeah. Okay, so
I
my
honestly
question to
wish
you
there was
is,
another one.
Well, that was my question to you to
I think
close
that. Was
that.
hopeful thinking.
to close it out, though, would be, what is the sequel title for Deep Rising? Because I thought that same thing. I was like, that would have been a cool sequel. What's the title, though? The Deep Have Risen.
Right. So you need something that's like, it could be like Magma Rising, right? Like the volcano.
That's good. Okay.
It could be Nature Rising.
Earth Rising.
Right. Or it could be the other way. It could be crashing down on us now.
Okay.
Right?
That's good.
Because it looks like there's clearly a giant beast or multiple.
That and Mount Doom in the background. They land on basically Mordor.
Yeah, so now we're doing a full-on like giant monster movie on land.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just with Stephen Sommers and Treat Williams and the cast they showed and the tightness of the script, I would absolutely have been ecstatic to get another one of these. They did a great fucking job with it.
I agree.
And that's the thing. It's a wonderful cast of actors, right? Just a really underrated cast. The script is fucking so sharp. It's funny, but it's still thrilling. It has some good kind of like constructed scary scenes, but it runs that perfect fucking line, right? Where it never takes away from itself by trying to be too tongue-in-cheek, I feel like. The tentacles, for the most part, work really well, right? The monster does not. The tentacles are good. Canton is a very fucking hateable villain at the core of this movie.
Yep.
When it ended, I was sad to see it end. When you hear the roar, you're like, I would do another 2 hours right now. Yeah, I would stay on this couch and watch another 2-hour adventure.
I think I'd stick
with
around.
Finnegan.
Yeah.
I think it's an exceptionally well done movie, and I think the goofiness of it is sometimes weaponized against it. We remember it, and we're like, oh, the fucking dumb jet ski thing with that terrible monster. You're like, the jet ski's awesome. The jet ski's fucking righteous.
Also, like, come on, like you're saying that's the dumbest thing you've ever seen in a movie? Like, please.
I mean, I think they actually did that in Speed 2, which is a way inferior movie to this.
I'm like, Speed 2 Cruise Control got away with it. I'm sure we can figure out how Deep Rising can make it work.
Yeah. I'm like Kenny Powers. I like to see my heroes on fucking jet skis. I like that.
I don't disagree.
I don't know. I just think it's this wonderful blend of elements that make an exceptionally entertaining movie.
I agree.
Full love
it's
it.
Wonderful.
4 out of 5 stars. Love it, love it, love it, love it. That's it for Deep Rising. The pod got whit today, but we'll get whit next week. Next week, we'll be discussing... It's hard. Is this the greatest underwater movie ever? The Abyss. It's such a good underwater movie that James Cameron actually tried to kill the whole cast.
Yeah. And Ed Harris still won't talk about it.
Yeah. I fucking love that movie. Probably the best, like, full underwater, right? Not the best on the water. That's Jaws. But probably the best underwater movie is The Abyss. So really excited to add that to the list. Guys, we are fast approaching the October Mega Marathon. 31 days, 31 pods. We stand on the precipice of The Abyss now. Next week, probably, we'll start revealing what we're going to be talking about, get you some homework. If you follow us on all our social media, you'll be the first to find out. If you really want to be the first to find out, and make sure you get those 3 extra podcasts, right? Because you want to do 31. That's better than 28. You got to go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. The patrons are always the first to find everything out, and they're going to vote on the 2 Patreon exclusive horror movies for the month. So they're going to have a big say in what we talk about. Actually, one of the franchises we kind of picked because we knew that our listeners wanted to hear it. So patreon.com/filmalchemistpod helps give you a voice in what you hear from the pod. We hope you love the pod. And if you can be so kind to go support us over there, that would be amazing. The YouTube Film Alchemist, the email filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews anywhere and everywhere you find the pod. Thank you for spending time with us. For the Film Alchemist, I'm Josh Griffey.
I'm Alex Dandino.